Some of our biggest challenges when it comes to decarbonisation will probably be discussed at the Smart Transport Conference, but really what we've got to do is firstly understand future trends. If we can understand future trends, particularly when we're looking at transport, we can see what good looks like. We can also understand some of the challenges and share best practices. So I think that's one of the challenges that we face in making sure that we are actively talking about some of the barriers that are leading to decarbonisation and what we have to do to overcome them. The other barrier that I think we have to address is understanding government's plans at a local level to help us unlock decarbonisation plans. So how can policymakers adapt existing policy, change policy to enable both the private and the public sector to work together to collaborate and really deliver solutions, transport solutions, digital solutions that will incentivize users to decarbonize, particularly when we're looking at transport. Some of the other barriers that we really need to address is how do we make active travel initiatives going from beyond just a good case study to something that is ingrained into our sort of everyday thought process when we're looking to plan journeys. So how do we get the public to really buy in, not only because we want them to change their behavior, but really let them understand that they can have a real impact there when it comes to some of these clean air initiatives that we're sort of looking to deploy on a local level. I think also sometimes we often forget to discuss freight, which can be a barrier for a lot of transport operators and people who are looking to use transportation, to understand how you can sort of see a modal shift away from the idea of freight being a big cause of congestion, and also some of the vehicles that are being used for the transport of freight need to be, really focused on decarbonising. So again, we need to discuss what are some of the new technologies coming to the market that's going to enable that. What are some of the incentives that may be available to transport operators to really look at this type of technology and look at a new fleet that's obviously cleaner and greener. And then finally, I think some of the barriers that we need to address are how do we make some of the trial projects that we've seen in the UK, particularly through smart transport, as really highlighted and focused mass mobility as a service and digital solutions. How do we take some of these projects that have now been in existence for maybe 12 months, and how do we look to scale those projects? How do we make them from a regional, localized project to something that's going to have much more of an impact on a national basis? And so that's talking about maybe some of the challenges that some of these projects have faced, but more importantly, what are the learnings and how can we evolve? And I think underpinning all of those barriers, there's always the constant conversation, dialogue going on about EV, electrification, particularly within transport. So again, let's talk about, what does good look like? What are some of the challenges? How do we really continue to electrify not just transportation, but the way people access transport that is being electrified, and also make sure that there's enough support from central government to local government to allow them to fund some of the infrastructure that needs to happen. So barriers, but I'm very confident that the Smart Transport Conference is going to have lots of examples where there's solutions, or more importantly, there's best practice that can be shared, lessons learned, and actually there's definitely a road forward, a vision of how we can overcome these barriers and look at scaling the whole solutions.